start streaming for YouTube. Let me know once you see that we're live on YouTube.
Let's see. It says waiting for Atheist Republic.
Okay. Hi guys. Hi Facebook people. Hi from Scotland.
Hi, if you guys can hear us, leave a comment and tell us how the audio is.
I see on YouTube people are saying hi from France, but let me see if we're live.
Great.
Are we live on YouTube?
Bonjour.
I think there's a little bit of a delay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Oh, there's echo.
Oh, sorry, I had to turn my volume down.
Jim. Okay. All right, good.
It was my cat, Armin.
No, again every time. How's the audio? How's the audio, everyone? I'm gonna have to stay very close to the mic. Okay, guys. Today we're gonna be covering the latest news on atheism, religion, and all the news that you guys commented on our previous YouTube videos for us to cover. Anna goes through them, tries to come up with the news that you guys suggested. So if you want us to cover news, if you want to suggest news that we need to pay more attention to, please go to our YouTube channel, and in the videos that are not live, not right now, not in the live chat, leave a comment on the news videos that are already been published, and let Anna know what news you think we should be covering. Also, if you're watching this on Facebook, I have the Facebook live chat open, but if you want your comments to show up on the screen, hop over to our YouTube live chat. That way your comments are going to show up on the screen. Hi Beach, hi Christy. And also, if on Facebook and on YouTube, if you guys want me to read your comment, there's two ways you could do that. There's two conditions. First of all, then you need to tag Atheist Republic. Second of all, it has to be relevant to the news we're covering. So mention Atheist Republic, and I'll cover it. Oh, B just saying stay bent over, and the audio will be good. Jeez, I need to get a headset instead because this is annoying. All right, so just be very close to the mic. All right. And also, before we go to the news, we just want to say one thing. Okay, so one thing I need to mention to everybody. This is very important, okay? This is very important. The YouTube and Facebook, they don't like our content. They just want, recipe food videos and, sharing holiday pictures and selfies or whatever, right? Which is all that is good, but they wish that we did not have to be on Facebook or YouTube. They tolerate us, but they wish we weren't here. They wish everybody was just posting content about stuff that was less controversial. So, and they don't suggest us. We don't show up and suggest it. Some people don't even get notifications. Some people, even though they're subscribed to us, they don't see us in their feed. So if you really want to make sure that we get our content, if you like our content and you want to get our content, go to our website, atheistrepublic.com, or if you're on your YouTube, just look in the description. On atheistrepublic.com, just subscribe to our newsletter, and every time one of these videos are out and other videos that we have, we'll just email you just to make sure you don't miss them. So go to Atheist Republic and subscribe to our atheistrepublic.com and subscribe to our newsletter. Anyways, Jim, we're gonna go over the news really soon. Just one last thing before this. I promise this is gonna be fast. Jim, you want to thank the people that supported us since last week? Our patrons.
Sure. I'd like to thank our patrons from Patreon. First, we have a $5 pledge from Lord Zarathustra. Thank you so much for that, my lord. We have a $5 pledge from Ingi Burso. The $5 pledge. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. We have a $1 pledge from Christopher Falkenberg. Thank you so much, Christopher. We greatly appreciate it. We have a $10 pledge from Eli Murphy. Thank you so much, Eli. That's awesome. We have a $1 pledge from Gregory Duncan. Thank you so much, Gregory. We have a $1 pledge from John Karen. Thank you so much to everyone for your pledges and for your donations. Without you guys, we couldn't be Atheist Republic as you know it. So we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you guys. We're getting close to our 100 patrons, which is going to make sure we cover all our costs for our staff and everything else. So thank you so much for that, and thank you, Jim, for taking over this from me because I really struggle with pronouncing people's names.
I'm not that much better.
It's okay. I rather you struggle through them than me. Muhammad Abdullah in the live chat is saying, Salam Armin, may Allah bless you and your family. I guess thanks. Thank you, Muhammad. I know you know that I don't believe in that, but I see that as a kind message. So thank you. So Casey, we like your content. Atheist Republic. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. Okay, so that's about it. Let's go to the news. What's the first news?
First news. A Christian group invites ridicule with demand of murder charges against Sentinelese. Following the death of John Allen Chau, a U.S. fundamentalist Christian group has sought murder charges against those responsible for his death. The organization has expressed concern over the murder and suggests the Sentinelese tribesmen should be charged with murder despite Chau having gone to the Forbidden Island in the Andamans in violation of the law. Chau's family said in a statement that they have forgiven those reportedly responsible for his death. We talked about this last week, Armin. And I believe that the general consensus on this was that he was in the wrong, and not only was he breaking the law of the Indian law, but they are also violating a moral law, because I mean, how can you go to an island like that knowing that you can carry these deadly pathogens that he was aware of? He was aware that their immunity was not built up to our standards. That tribe has been there for 30,000 years, and they have evolved in their own way outside of the illnesses that were known to the rest of the world. So he went there knowingly know that he could wipe out an entire population.
Okay, so these are two completely different things: the legal and the moral aspect of it. Legally,
Right.
what is this Christian group that is demanding legal action? Like, do they not know the laws of the place they're talking about? Like, the laws do not.
Out of all of the Christian groups, this one should know. This one, they go to every country specifically seeking out protection for Christians in these other countries that are being oppressed. So this is exactly what they do. That they advocate on behalf of Christians around the world. I mean, but they are. And
what do they expect the government to do?
Remember, they didn't come out with these murder charges. They didn't come out demanding murder charges until after the news came out. So until after they already knew that it was illegal. So they filed these murder charges knowing that it was illegal.
So, like, are they expecting the government in India to move in and like arrest these tribesmen? Like, are they serious? Like, is this like a PR move, or are they that stupid? It's hard to tell.
I mean, if it's a PR move, who are they appealing to?
Their own, obviously not to us, but to their own followers, I guess.
But to their own Christian population?
To their own like congregation. I don't know, but I can't. It's hard for me to. I guess I should expect this, but it's hard for me to think. What did they expect? Like, do they think like the police is now going to go to this island and like put these people at risk?
Actually,
the main criticism everyone has is that this missionary is bringing disease to this island, because this is like for people that didn't follow us last week, this is a very isolated tribe that is disconnected from civilization. Obviously, the laws of civilized the world is not applying there. These people have been out of touch with everything modern, and they are so disconnected from the rest of the world that anybody going there is putting them in serious danger of disease, because their immune system has not built any immunity to most of the diseases that most of the bacteria or viruses that most of us carry. So the main concern everybody had with this missionary was by him going there, trying to turn these people to a Christian, and then getting killed by arrows from them. The main concern was like he potentially brought a lot of disease there. And now this Christian group is saying they want murder charges to. Like, do you want the police to go there and bringing more disease to these people? Like, what was the end game here? What did they think is gonna, how did this play out in their head? I don't understand.
I don't know if they're necessarily appealing to the Indian government. I mean, this is an international organization, so they're appealing to the nation. They're basically pleading for Christian nations or Christian leaders to assist them in seeking justice for this. But the Indian government has received so much pressure from people around the world to do something about this that they've actually gone and tried to retrieve the bodies. They went out on a boat, and they were just offshore where the body was last seen buried, and they said they saw that some of the tribes people just come out and just stand there and look at them, and so
they tried to go back even after all the. They
were assessing the possibility of recovering the body.
Even after everybody mentioning that this was a bad idea because you're going to bring disease there, they still tried to see if they want to go back and get the body.
Not just the risk of bringing disease, but even if they don't see any tribesmen there, those guys are obviously a pretty good shot with that bow and arrow.
I mean, it's hard to miss if you're shooting 100 arrows. But I don't know.
Well, you have to remember though. For those who weren't here last week, we talked about the warning shot that John Chau got on his initial visit, just the day before he died, and in which they shot at him a warning shot that went through his Bible he was carrying. So if that's not a good shot, I don't know what is.
So here's the first comment here. I'm gonna go read the live chat comments soon, but the first comment from Kim, I don't agree with. You guys maybe, it's saying what's interesting is that they assume that Western murder laws apply in someone else's country. Obviously, under Sentinelese law, he was tried, found guilty, and executed. Okay, first of all, this is not a country. This is in India.
Right.
And India is Western. It's not Western countries that have murder laws. India has murder laws. This is different. This is completely isolated place, and I don't think that what they shot him because they have laws there. They don't have any laws. This was just them reacting to a foreign thing that they don't recognize and fear because they don't know what the hell they're dealing with. It's not like they're enforcing the law or trying to do justice or anything like that. But we're going.
Jackson Lowe in the YouTube live chat says, "I don't think you guys are addressing the real issue. I think everyone accepts it was a bad idea / dangerous. The real question is if the murder is justified.
I mean,
and how to justify it."
I think that's a strange question. You're not talking about this. Okay, so.
But
justified.
I think it's a great question. Because
well, so we disagree because justified. I mean, so it's these people are kind of like cavemen, right? So, I mean, the standards that they're dealing with, and is different. I mean,
but
do you think
why?
like okay? So it's kind of like asking.
It's just a belief.
Okay, so it's kind of like asking, do you think this caveman that hit that other caveman in the head with a giant rock because that the second caveman took his food, is that justified? I don't think the justice that we are used to applies here. This is, a different. I don't know. It's just weird for looking for justice here. But go on.
What would the answer be for the caveman? I mean, because in my opinion, that's a very good analogy. It's a very good comparison. So if one caveman did kill another with a rock for stealing his food or whatever, would that be justified?
I think I wouldn't expect them to analyze the justification for. I think the only thing what comes with nature, what we deal with nature is sympathy, right? So that's the only tool you have in your toolkit. You have sympathy for some people, and you don't have sympathy for other people. But through civilization, we have moved beyond just relying on sympathy, and we came up with codes that we follow that seem to work, that builds on the sympathy. Because of our sympathy, we desire these codes, but we go beyond just relying on sympathy, and we come up with a structure and a standard and justice and all laws and everything. They're like, hey, this seems like it's working if we follow these rules. So, and I don't expect these standards for justice to be followed or understood by. I mean, I'm not looking down on these people. I'm pretty sure if I was born there and if I wasn't exposed to a civilization, I wouldn't be having a more advanced standard or code of, moral code. But I don't think it's weird. It's weird for us to want to apply, a more advanced moral code to these people.
Well, the sympathy that you're talking about that modern laws are derived from is just altruism, and I mean, and altruism is just wanting survival of your species. I mean, it's because it's beneficial for you to help somebody. It's beneficial for you to not kill somebody. It's beneficial to help the weak. It's beneficial to multiply, and that's all human code.
It's not just that. Sympathy is not enough. Sympathy is good. Sympathy is the main motivator, but it's very flawed, right? We know that sympathy is not good enough. Like the main example that people like Sam Harris bring up is like if I tell you 1,000 people died in so and so place, you're going to be less sympathetic than I show you a picture of one little girl that died, right? Or show you a video of one little girl that died and her story, you're going to be more sympathetic to that one story than when I give you statistics of 1,000 people that died. Even though statistically, I mean, it would have been better if our nature reacted to that number of 1,000 people dying more than the story of one person dying. It's okay. It's flawed. But it's good. It's good that we still have it. Sympathy is very useful. But I'm just saying the reason why we don't just rely only on sympathy is because we have proven that our sympathy is biased, is tribal, it's flawed, and we come up with a code that seems to be building on that sympathy and work. Just like the relationship between science and logic. We all have some sense of logic, but our logic is flawed. Science, the scientific method, is a system that we follow that adjusts for all our biases. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Just go with me for a second here, okay? Imagine that the Mayan civilization still exists as it did. Imagine that that the rest of the world is going on just like it is now, and they are the isolated tribe and not the Sentinelese people. They are performing sacrifices. They are chopping off people's heads. They are sacrificing to their gods. Sometimes on a daily basis, just over and over again. And
I get your point.
And so do we do something about it, or do we allow them to continue simply because they don't know any better?
No, I didn't say we don't do anything about it. I'm saying our moral code is better. I'm not saying just because I don't expect them to understand our moral code, that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the superiority of the moral code that we follow. Do you know what I mean?
So should we take actions to introduce our current moral code to them?
Yeah. You do a cost-benefit analysis. Obviously, with this tribe, it doesn't make any sense because the numbers are very small, and and us going there is going to bring more harm than good. But if you're talking about a society that has a lot of internal misery because of the customs that they're following, obviously, then the benefit might outweigh the cost. You have to do a cost-benefit analysis. But I'm not being a cultural relativist and just saying, oh, to each their own. Their moral code is who says our way of life is better than their way of life. Obviously, the reason why our moral code and moral standards, the modern moral code, is way superior. I'm just saying I don't expect from people that have been out of touch from civilization to recognize that. I don't expect that from them.
No, I don't expect it either. But they didn't expect it. Was it 2002 when they killed the two people? I think it was 2002. I mean, they, it wasn't expected then, but it wasn't expected when they made them a non-contact. I mean, now, granted, the Indian government did take measures to ensure people's safety by making it illegal to visit the island. Okay, granted, they did do that, but they had to have known that these fishermen were going there. The fishermen that took
But
John
okay,
Chau
that's a
to this
different
place,
topic, though.
they're very knowledgeable about it.
Right.
So I mean, but so they should have known, right? I mean, they should have
Yeah.
done something
Okay.
then.
Yeah. Nobody is. Okay. So everybody knows that this missionary person. Now this is now we talk. Let's move on to something else, because a lot of people are talking about whether these tribes people did the right thing or not the right thing. I mean, again, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be angry with these people. Okay. Obviously, for them, this is like, what the hell is this? Thing. This is doesn't. We don't recognize them. They're scared. They don't want a foreign entity coming to their island. They shoot at it. And obviously, for us, we know that that's not the best way to live. But I know also that if we weren't introduced to this, to these moral conduct, we wouldn't recognize that that's a better way to live. Anyways, but going to the missionary, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this. It's a lot of people say the premise is that he did something wrong, okay, and the conclusion is he deserved what happened to him. I agree with the premise. I don't agree with the conclusion. Yes, he did something wrong, but the punishment, what happened to him, even though it wasn't the faults of the tribes people, I think he didn't deserve that. Death. I mean. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me because they think like, well, he was knowingly bringing disease. Maybe he deserved to be imprisoned. Maybe he deserved to pay a huge fine. Maybe he even deserved life imprisonment because he knowingly committed and almost committed genocide on a whole island. Right? I don't know how much he knew. Do we know if he knew that his disease is gonna cause these people to potentially die? We don't know. But I don't think just because we know he was doing something wrong, then it's okay for us to say, well, then he deserved to die. I mean, that's pretty barbaric. I mean, we know better than these tribes people. I think that's pretty extreme for us to say that he deserved to die. Like a lot of people think here. This Marina is saying. He knew this is the second top comment. He knew he wasn't supposed to go there, knew it was illegal and dangerous, and did it anyway. No sympathy. He brought that on himself. I mean, I have sympathy for the guy. He died alone, away from home. He was an idiot, obviously, but being an idiot and making mistakes doesn't make. I mean, it's okay. I know a lot of people in the live chat are also saying that they don't have sympathy for him. Okay, fine. I have sympathy for him. He was wrong. He was an idiot. He made a huge mistake. But it's sad that he had to go like that, far away from home.
He's a victim of indoctrination, and I feel sorry for any victim of indoctrination.
Yeah, exactly. Victim. He's a victim here too. He's a victim of indoctrination. Exactly. Good way of putting it. Jason is saying it wasn't murder. He was warned. He knew the risk. They had every right to defend their island. If anything, it was suicide.
I have a really good point to make. It's illegal to break and enter, right? I mean, and so if they made a legal barrier around this island and somebody broke that barrier, they entered this no trespassing zone, so to speak. In the United States, in most states, if you enter a no trespassing area, you can be shot and it's justified legally.
Right. So
now, morally, it's a different argument.
Okay, so let's say let me give an example that if both morally justified and legally justified, right? Let's say somebody is breaking into your home, and you have a gun, and you're legally allowed to shoot them, and you're morally also allowed to shoot them because you can see somebody's breaking into your home. They're putting your family at risk, right? And you shoot them, and then you realize that this person actually made a mistake. He thought this was his house. He was drunk. He was a neighbor. He saw the key wasn't working. He came through the window. He was being an idiot, and then you shot him, right? So it's possible that you are the person that did the shooting was both morally and legally justified, but also feels sad for the person that made a stupid mistake and got killed and say he didn't deserve it. Saying he didn't deserve it doesn't mean that the person doing the shooting was not morally and legally justified. You know what I mean? These are not contradictory.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Should we okay, look at there's a lot of comments on YouTube. Can you look at them, and I'll look at Facebook.
Okay. Christy says it wasn't even the missionaries' complete fault. His ridiculous indoctrination and set of beliefs and encourages this type of carelessness and harm. Jackson Lowe says you can shoot to immobilize. They were trying to murder. Actually, first they shot to warn him. If you remember correctly, they shot to warn him, and then he came back, and they were like,
really? Oh. They actually that they care about not killing people? I thought they wouldn't. How do we know that they shot to warn?
Because he wrote it in his journal, and he took a picture of an arrow that went through his journal. He said, I can't believe it. They shot an arrow through my journal. I'm going back tomorrow. God, I don't want to die.
That doesn't seem like a warning. That seems like a miss. How do you?
It seems like a really good miss. I mean,
yeah, I don't think
because I mean, if you think about it,
I don't think they know what a journal is. I think they were aiming to kill. I don't think these people.
No, the Bible. They found out because he wrote about it in his journal.
Okay, sorry. I don't think. Well, same thing. I don't think they know what the Bible is. So, and I don't think.
Well, I don't think they were shooting at it because it's the Bible. I mean,
yeah,
I think
I'm having a hard time believing that they wouldn't shoot to kill from the very beginning. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I just think that he just got lucky the first time.
Oh,
and
okay.
Then, yeah. I mean, this guy is an idiot. I don't trust. I mean, I feel bad for him, but he was obviously an idiot, and I don't trust his assessment that the first time was a warning. He was a kind idiot. He thought he was like. I think he wanted to. I don't know. I think he wanted to see the good in people. He was an idiot, but a kind idiot. Let me. I'm not seeing it. There's any comments on more comments on the YouTube live chat. I saw a lot of good ones.
Antediluvian Atheist says, don't forget, from his point of view, he was risking not just their lives, but their souls.
Exactly.
Soraya says, no, he didn't deserve to die. I think that's all I'm seeing.
On Facebook, I'm seeing some jokes. Should I read them? I don't know if it's they got the
no. We did that last week, and it's garbage.
I mean, so here's the thing. I saw Atheist Republic Facebook page also post some jokes about this, and I told Anna to please don't post those anymore. And why did we approve? Who approved the memes that are making fun of someone dying?
Right.
And I'd ask her why did she allow those to go through. And to be fair to Anna, we asked her to do so much, right? And she's overworked. And she's supposed to go through popular memes and post them on Atheist Republic just to get.
And they are popular.
Yeah, and they were popular. And she every time I keep on asking her to review more stuff, and she's way overworked. So, but she said okay, she just makes sure she reviews them with more scrutiny now. But sorry, Anna. Thank you. I know I complain a lot about everything she does, but she's really good. Okay, so should we go? Wow, this news. Should we go to the next news?
Sure. Dad made 11-year-old son sleep with his stepmom to keep him from being gay. Warp's Dowling, a 62-year-old Englishman, admitted that he forced his son to have sex with the boy's own stepmother, Annette Breakspear, saying it was to prevent the boy from becoming gay. He was 38 years old when he began abusing his own son, who was 11 years old at the time. The son, Daniel, who is now 36, recalled the day the abuse began. It was Sunday afternoon when his dad and stepmom were playing board game Frustration with him. His dad suggested for them to take their clothes off whenever someone lost. His stepmom was completely naked by the end of the game, and the abuse began. Daniel secretly recorded his father admitting the childhood abuse, and Breakspear received 8 years in prison, while Dowling was sentenced to 5 years.
What the fuck? This is crazy. I don't know what to say. I actually... What he recorded this whole situation that's for
No,
proof? Huh.
he recorded the admission of guilt from his father years later, 27 years later to be exact.
Good job. And what did the father get?
He got 5 years in prison.
And what about the stepmom?
She received 8 years in prison.
Oh yeah, because she actually committed the
It's
sexual how act, right?
correct,
So she got more.
correct.
How many? How old was he when she did
He,
this?
he was 11 years old when it started, and apparently it lasted for most of his childhood.
Oh my
Because
god.
his father said that he didn't want his son growing up gay. As a matter of fact, verbatim, he said, "No son of mine is going to, no son of mine will be gay." Um, the stepmom told her dad at one point, said, "Your dad's going to," told the boy's father, said that your son Dan's going to bat for the other side, which is a really crude way of saying that he's homophobic, or that he's homosexual. I'm sorry.
He
Um,
he seems traumatized. Is he traumatized? He must be traumatized.
he surprisingly, he's actually successful. He's a fashion retail manager now. He lives in Surrey, and he's really open about what happened to him. But it is something that sticks with him. He said that he'll never forget it.
I saw this video of him playing. He was crying when he was mentioning it.
Right.
So he must be, yeah. I mean, good on him of trying to fix, to hold them accountable. Like I think for
Right.
every story like this, there's a I don't know how many other stories like this happening and without anybody finding out, right? Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but every time somebody like this actually comes and does something about it, I think it encourages other people that are victims as well to think like, yeah, you know what,
Right.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna it encourages other people to. I mean, I know this must be difficult. A lot of people that haven't gone through this as children don't understand why people wouldn't just come out right away and just say things. And I think it's really difficult for people that haven't gone through this to understand the amount of trauma and the amount of guilt that people experience. And people don't understand, why would you feel guilt? You're
Right.
the victim here. But I
Well,
mean,
I mean, we were talking about justification on our last news story regarding Jonathan Chau. I mean, so I mean, his justification is obviously bigoted, but it is derived from his from his faith. He's against homosexuality. He didn't want his son being gay, and that's why he did it. He still sticks beside that. And the victim, he still recalls, his dad saying that's the reason over and over again, telling him he doesn't want to be gay. You're not going to be gay. Specifically making him lick and kiss his stepmother's breasts and nipples. I mean,
in
we're
front of
talking about.
him, in front of him.
Yes, in front of him, and both of them
This
instructing him as far as what to do. And then that was just initially just touching her while she was naked. That was the first time when they were playing the board game, and then it went from there into intercourse multiple times.
Oh my god, this is. I mean, good for him that he's not broken, but this can break somebody. Like
Right.
this could like fuck with your head, in so many ways. As if you go through this as a child,
Yep.
this could really mess up you all your future relationships, or any you could or any. It could make it very difficult for you to have any connection with any person. I
Right.
mean, I know some stories about people that were abused by priests that now can't even hug their own son because of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
and whenever his father was in court, part of his defense, his explanation for doing all of this, he said that he was just trying to steer his son in the right direction, and he he said all I ever wanted was for him to not turn out or was for him to turn out the right way, the quote unquote right way.
uh,
That's
All right,
Yeah,
let's look
it's
at some of the
disgusting.
comments. Ray in Facebook live chat is saying, "I bet the in Facebook live chat, Ray is saying, I bet the YouTube live chat isn't as good as this." So there's some friendly competition between Facebook live
Ooh.
chat. All right, Jessica is saying, top comment, Jessica, all you guys calling this little boy lucky? Really? Are people
What
calling
the
us?
fuck? Seriously?
Okay. So Jessica is saying all you. So I think she's responding to many other comments here. I haven't seen it.
God.
So Jessica is saying all you guys calling this little boy lucky are shit people. The kid was raped by two adults who was supposed to be able to trust. Who he was supposed to be able to trust. It's not funny. You all suck. Yeah, this is so fucked up. I mean, it's your dad. You're being told to have sex. People, what the hell? Yes, thank you, Jessica, for saying that. These people, I don't understand. This is
It's a real shame that has to be a top comment. It's a real shame that we need somebody to moderate other secular humans' comments. Like you guys shouldn't. You guys are better than that. I
no,
mean,
they're not. No, okay. Here's the thing. I
that's
actually want this to happen because a lot of atheists say that, oh, I thought atheists are supposed to be logical, right? And I'm like, well, why did you think that? Of course, not all atheists are logical, and I'm glad that you're being. A lot of people saying, why didn't you ban people that are idiots on the page? And they're like, well, I mean, it's good to see. It's good for people to see, like,
right.
oh, don't be. One good thing for one benefit from being exposed to other atheists that you find that have comments that you find ridiculous or uh, disgusting is it helps our community not become tribal, right? I want there to be a lot of internal struggle within our community, uh, because first of all, it makes everybody help each other recognize what views they have that are wrong or disgusting, and also it avoids us becoming a tribal group. Is the more critical we are of each other, the less tribal we're going to become. So
Right, but the more critical we are with each other, and the more that we accept that criticism, the closer those margins come together. Don't you think?
what do you mean?
Like I'm saying that the more that we criticize bad ideas within our own community, don't you think that once that's the general consensus that idea, once that idea becomes the minority, then the majority becomes associated with the movement?
I mean, there's always going to be bad ideas. I mean, if we're having a problem of
Right.
not having if our problem is we don't have too much, we have too little bad ideas. I think that's progress. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're always going to have internal fighting, and I think that's a strength, not
Yeah.
a weakness. But
In the
and
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and also this whole idea of atheists are I thought atheists are supposed to be logical, that needs to be destroyed, and I think
Yeah.
that letting that be exposed from within our own community helps that. But go on, sorry.
Oh no, that's what I was. Muscal in the live chat says, if the man wanted to see others engage in sexual acts, why not watch porn? The father is twisted. Why would the mother go through with it? So I don't know if you heard it all, Muscal, but the man wanted his son to not be gay, and that's why he did it. And it was with his stepmother.
But
Not that
Muska
that's
has
any
a point.
better,
But Muska has a point. Maybe the motivation was like he had some sick fantasies of seeing his, I don't know.
but
Maybe his
but that wasn't the excuse that he told his son when he was 11, or what he told the courts.
right. I know.
Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Sub-Zero says, you're right, Armin. It's possible to be an atheist for illogical reasons. Absolutely.
Right. Or you could be an atheist for logical reasons and be illogical about something else.
Right, sure. Vibrantly Brantley says, Facebook is garbage. I don't know why you show those comments. uh, wow.
Asia is saying, well, that's called rape. Yep. Emil is saying,
Absolutely.
dad made 11-year-old son sleep with his stepmom to keep him from being gay. That should have read. So Emil is suggesting a different title. Dad gets stepmom to rape his 11-year-old son.
Yep.
And then he or she says, "Wow, even atheist feminists hate to admit a woman raped a boy." Oh, so apparently, after he made the comment, he had to make an edit because a lot of people responded to him that a woman can't rape, which is ridiculous. Because the edit to his comment is, wait, is that an edit? Wow, even atheist feminists hate to admit a woman raped a boy. Please keep telling people how you don't hate boys and men some more, please. I mean, I don't know. Think it's from. I don't think the suggestion is because of hatred for men or boys, but I think it is ridiculous to suggest that women can't rape, especially when there's an 11-year-old boy involved. Obviously, that's fucking rape, right? So,
Right.
yeah, that was rape. But go on.
Okay. So what if we say that we're not talking about the atheist community, but like Ultimate Classic is saying, if you want to be a rational person, you have to apply critical thinking to everything, not just God. So let's just not say the atheist community. What about the rational community? Shouldn't the rational community throw out these bad ideas?
Throw them out, or you don't throw them out. You fight them. You challenge them.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I
I
mean.
would,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody suggested here that we accept bad ideas. I just said we don't kick them out because a lot of them change. Believe it or not, most of them don't, but a lot of them change. The only way to fight bad ideas is talk to. The only way to fight bad ideas is to talk to the people that hold those bad ideas. You can't fight bad ideas by just kicking out people with bad ideas. That's not going to change anything. You think you're going to, after you kick them out of your community, they're just going to go and be like, oh, I guess I don't have those ideas. And they're going to keep those ideas. You're just not going to see them anymore. Yeah. So.
That's true.
All right. Anything on the guys in the Facebook live chat? If you guys want me to read something, please make sure you tag Atheist Republic. I'm not saying any tags of Atheist Republic, and make sure it's relevant to the news. Anything else that we need to read on YouTube?
I don't see any new ones.
Let me see. You miss them often.
Which one did I miss?
No, sometimes you miss them.
I missed a couple because you started doing the Facebook ones.
Okay. So Soraya is saying, let's be wise. YouTube, Facebook is irrelevant. Sharing logics and opinions are important. Yeah, Soraya, it was just for fun, I think. Muska is saying, the bigger piece of this story is to get people to realize you can't change someone if they are gay. People need to have proper sex ed class. I think, I mean, that's one. I think the bigger issue is that you can't rape. You shouldn't be raping 11-year-old boys or 11-year-old anybody. I think that's the bigger, more important point here. But yeah, your point stands, Muska. Sub-Zero is saying the rational community has. I don't know if there is a rational community. Do we have a rational community?
I mean, not really, but I mean, there is a collective group of people who would consider themselves to be rational.
Yeah, I just think it's very cringy to have a rational community. I don't know.
I don't know anything about a community. I just mean like a collective body of rational people. Like,
I think it's very. I don't know. It's very. You need to have maybe an I think it's cringy to have. I mean, the reason why I think the atheist community is not cringy is because it's an oppressed group of people, so that they need a community and they need to find each other and protect each other and support and provide community for each other, right? I don't think the rational people are being oppressed. I don't know. I think it's cringy to have a reason group or something like that. It seems like very self-congratulatory. But okay, let's go to. And Robert is pointing out everybody believes they're rational. So if you have a rational community, everybody thinks they belong to it. I mean, I think it's admirable if somebody recognizes that they're not smart and just admits to it. I've yet to meet somebody like that. Well, actually, some people say they're not as smart as somebody else, but I haven't met anybody that says, you know what, I'm just not smart. I think that would be very interesting for me to hear somebody actually say that, because it's okay. I mean, some people are not very smart, and you just work with what you have, right? All right, should we go to? I think we need to go to the next news. Next news.
Next news. Brian Fisher.
Hold on.
Dinosaurs went extinct because plants died out after Noah's flood.
What?
During the Focal Point show, Brian Fisher, the American Family Association's radio host, gave listeners an education on how dinosaurs went extinct. Fisher asserted that you had little tiny dinosaurs on the ark, but they didn't survive after the flood receded because all of the vegetation had been destroyed.
So what happened to the
So,
big dinosaurs? Were they also on the ark? But okay, so this guy
oh
believes
no,
that.
so he believes that all the dinosaurs were little bitty dinosaurs, and on the ark. So I guess they just had baby dinosaurs.
Okay,
Like they just got a
okay.
bunch of baby dinosaurs.
So he does believe that there were also big dinosaurs,
So,
but they didn't
and
make
he
it on the
also
ship.
and he also seems to believe that dinosaurs were the only animal that he brought on the ark that ate vegetation,
Yeah. What happened to the other vegetable
and,
eating?
including himself and Shem, Ham, Japheth, their wives, his wife. I mean,
Okay.
come on.
So let's play his game. So if he actually said that there were still vegetables left after the flood, but not vegetables. That sounds like a salad. What do you say? If there wasn't enough plants for big animals, and that's why the only small animals survived. Okay, I will say, okay, he's mixing theology with science a little bit in a clever way, but he's saying that the small dinosaurs died because there wasn't enough plants, right? And if the small dinosaurs died because there wasn't enough plants, so what about the rest of the animals that also rely on plants, right? I mean,
Right.
all animals rely on plants. Even animals that don't eat plants need animals that eat plants.
Exactly. Well, and another thing that he's ignoring too is that
Is this guy popular?
is that if he is asserting something that is contrary to some Christian beliefs, that dinosaurs existed, but they were on Noah's Ark, but they didn't survive after the waters had receded, then how does he explain how many dinosaur fossils that we have? I mean, we have multiple fossils of the exact same dinosaur species. I mean, how does he attribute that? He would have to be saying that generations of these dinosaurs lived and died, and not just that, but dating them. There are different eras of dinosaurs. We're talking like millions of years of stretches in between each other, in between the different ages. You got
Right.
the Jurassic, the Mesozoic, the Cretaceous. You have all these different periods in which these animals lived and were extinct, and that we date them back to, and that the fossil record reflects that.
So no, okay. So first of all, how does this guy know that there were dinosaurs? Is he not relying on scientists?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. He's relying on the fossil record.
Yeah. So if he knows that there are dinosaurs, so he's acknowledging that the scientists have contributed proof for the existence of dinosaurs. So how are these people picking and choosing what the scientists are saying? Like, so you're relying on something that has no biblical record for the dinosaurs, right? So the only evidence that we what
you don't remember Genesis 6:20? It says and ye shall also bringeth one of every male and one of every female tiny baby dinosaur.
No, I don't remember that part. But hey, there are dragons now in the Bible.
Yeah, there's a reference to dragon. There's also a reference to some being with a hollow tail, and then there's the beast in Revelations, and it's just
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so this is very interesting. So they're using science to deny science. That's what they're doing. They're not just cherry picking Bible anymore. They're also cherry picking science.
Like these are the same people though who rely on dating methods for their biblical books that their biblical scholars agree with, but then when they use and apply those dating methods to something else that is contrary to their beliefs, then all of a sudden they don't support that method of dating.
How popular is this guy? I want to see how big of a problem this is. Is this guy like his? Yeah.
I don't think this is a problem at all.
Wait, no. How popular? Who is this guy? Oh, Brian. Oh my God, this is Brian Fisher.
Yeah.
Okay, no, he
He's a
is
radio host,
huge.
but well, yeah, he's huge. But I mean, I think a lot of the I honestly think that the majority of the Christian population does not support this. I
Yeah,
really don't believe that
but
this is a popular held
oh,
belief.
that is just okay. You might be right if you say the majority don't believe in him, right?
Right,
Majority in the United States, you might say, right? But that doesn't make the number of people that do believe in him small. Like this, these views are very popular among Christian community.
right. But I
I
mean,
mean, at some point,
talking about
half
like
of United States, like almost just a little bit under half of United States, didn't believe in evolution. You're talking about half of the most advanced fucking country in the world did not believe in evolution. That's scary. Okay, that's really really scary. So these views are popular. Like most people on this planet. Actually, I don't know. Most people in other than Buddhist and Chinese and China or whatever other countries. If you take out China and Japan, most of this planet believes in the Noah Ark story. Right? That's huge.
yeah,
That's very scary. The little cartoony thing with the ship and the old man and the animals on a boat and then the whole world going underwater and that
right,
little childish story. That's the number of people that believe in that on our planet in this day and age should scare everybody. That the fact that people actually believe in that story, like
right.
this is we live in a world that have this knows what happened like a fraction of a second after the beginning of our universe. We've been to space. We've done so many crazy things. We have discovered so much about our planet and our universe and our biology and everything else. And most people are still left behind, and most people are still like trying to figure out whether you could put all these animals on a ship. And I mean, a carpenter was that was crucified 2,000 years ago is the same as the creator of the universe. Like your expectations of humanity should be a lot lower based on what we know about. I mean, all the scientific advancements and all the technology that we have.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the people that have been responsible for all of that are like a small, tiny percentage of the human race that
Right.
everybody else is just benefiting from. But this guy, don't if you, a lot of people that are more intelligent or more educated look at this guy and look at his story and think like, oh, okay, this guy is a loon, he's an oddball. This is humanity, okay? This guy represents most of us, okay? This is the human race. Don't just
Well,
dismiss the story as some crazy person that doesn't reflect most people. This person does reflect most people. You don't reflect most people. But go on, Jim.
no, I was just going to say that this guy, Brian Fisher, the American Family Association. I mean, you have to think about their base. First of all, who listens to the radio? Secondly, who listens to the radio, and when they do, they listen to Brian Fisher and the American Family Association. We're talking about Americans that are most likely over 50. It is a large population. You're right, but it is. I don't think that it necessarily reflects modern concepts of Christianity. His claim, his specific claim that we're talking about, anyways.
Modern concepts of Christianity. Christianity is
Right?
not modern. It can never be
No.
modern.
Yes. No. Yes, it can. It is a modern concept of Christianity,
No.
or modern
The only way
a
Christianity
modern
becomes
version of
modern is
Christianity.
by becoming less Christian. Uh,
Right, and Christianity becomes less Christian with
right.
every new claim that or with every new discovery
Yeah.
that directly refutes a Christian belief. So at one time, Christians believed in a firmament in which the stars all had a universal distance from
Yeah,
Earth, and they also
but those are Christians believing in different things other than Christianity, rather than Christianity changing.
right. But in early Christianity, how many people believed that compared to how many people believe that now? Like, it was a consensus view then,
Yeah, but you're
but it is
talking
not a
about
consensus
people.
view now.
You're using you're talking about Christians and Christianity as if they're the same thing. So we're talking about Christians. The example I give is like if Christians start. If I show you like 1,000 Christians that enjoy knitting, that doesn't mean knitting is a Christian thing. If I show you that most Muslims love Game of Thrones, right? That doesn't make Game of Thrones an Islamic thing, right? A lot of what I'm saying is that
we're talking about the church, man. We're talking about the church
but
asserted these beliefs.
Yeah,
it wasn't just the followers; it was the church, and the churches don't assert those beliefs now. What I'm saying is like it was necessary to believe. In fact, it was so necessary that Bruno was burned at the stake by the church for supporting his mentor's beliefs.
Yeah, because they were more aligned with Christianity. I'm just saying this is not modernizing Christianity. This is Christians moving away from Christianity, living their lives less based on Christianity. It's not.
Right, I thought that's what we were talking about Christianity receding, basically the Christian beliefs going away.
Yeah, so this is not a change in Christianity. This is Christianity becoming weaker and becoming less influential. I think it's an important difference, right?
It's basically the full timeline of the God of the Gaps theory.
Right. Anyways, let me see some of the comments here. Douglas is saying most religious arguments can't pass a 4th grade critical analysis. This one can't pass kindergarten.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Ish. Okay. What's this? I don't know how to. Okay, my favorite part of the video is when he said it's not rocket surgery. Rocket surgery? Wait, he said that in the video? That's funny.
Rocket surgery.
Fabian is saying, what about aquatic dinosaurs? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Okay.
Well, it was probably the same thing that happened to the freshwater fish whenever when the oceans salinated all of the freshwater.
Yeah. When you get all this salt and all the freshwater mixing, I don't know what happened to all that fish. William, the excuse people give is like, okay, not all animals were on the boat. It was each kind, you know what I mean, like of animal was on the fish on the boat, right?
Ken Hovind or Ken Ham
if what they're suggesting is that they're admitting evolution can happen, because after that now we have so many different kinds of animals, right? And if they're admitting that, then they are actually admitting a much faster evolution, because if this happened how many years ago according to them? Less than 6,000 years ago.
6,000, yeah.
No, not 6,000, less than, because Noah's Ark happened way after Adam and Eve, right?
Well, they believe 6,000 to 10,000 years old was the creation of Adam and Eve.
Let's say 10,000. So they think that all the evolution of animals from that we got just from the animals that were on the boat to now what we have, all this diverse group animals, happen in only 10,000 years. So yeah, somebody have to point them out that you're not only you believe in evolution according to what you're saying, you believe in evolution on steroids.
Right. Well, and not just the evolution of the animals that are alive today, but you also have to account for the fossil records of dinosaurs that have been proven to evolve from other dinosaurs. So the dinosaurs had to have existed long enough for there to have been evolution.
The devil just put them there.
That's right.
Yeah. Wait, let me read the next comment. Yes, of course they did. Will someone please change Granddad's diaper? Okay, let me see anything on YouTube. So, what can we do to tackle this as a community? I don't know what that's referring to. Jackson is saying, I agree that he represents some of the Christian population's view. I think the conversation would be more productive if we talked about what we can do about it. Well, what do you mean? What can we do about it is what we have been doing for the past 13 years, Jackson. We are reaching out to people. We're publishing books. Atheist Republic is publishing books. We're providing free content. We're introducing people to a lot of basic education, basic understanding of logical fallacies, and we're moving to a new phase, and we have had a lot of success. A lot of people that believed in this stuff through Atheist Republic, not enough at all, but we have had a lot of success. A lot of people have abandoned their religion or their religious thinking because of being exposed to the content that we exposed them to. Now we're trying to move on to a new phase by not just doing this in English, because we think there's a huge gap in many other countries and many other where the activists already exist. They just don't have as much of a audience or access to
resources,
and we
or as much content.
And we want to share our content with them. We want to take their content and translate it to English, and take our content and translate it to their languages. So the next phase is do everything that we have done for the past 13 years, rebuild that for every country, and basically have the activists on the ground that we have in Atheist Republic consulates in every city. We have a very global network. And what we're going to do once we build a structure where we could replicate everything we've done in English in other languages, with the help of the activists that we have in each one of these consulates, we're going to start managing Atheist Republic Spain, Atheist Republic Philippines, Atheist Republic Iran, Atheist Republic Saudi Arabia, Atheist Republic Mexico, Atheist Republic Indonesia, Malaysia, and in their languages, and specifically, like, we're going to have Atheist Republic news, but specifically for each country and in the language of that country, and not just news, but many other topics as well. But so Jackson is asking, what can we do? Well, we're not just talking about it; we're actually doing it. But good question, Jackson. You're right. That's the more important question. Sorti is saying Atheist Republic community, is that what it is needed? I don't know what you're asking. Soraya is saying Atheist Republic has a huge impact. Oh, thank you, Soraya. Jackson is saying you guys are doing a great job. Oh, thank you. Not denying that. The original comment was more in reference to the original article. Most of us found the article kind of obvious old topic. I mean, most these news articles are recommended to us by the Atheist Republic community, so that's why we cover them.
Right, and we also need to expose these beliefs, like Harmon was saying.
Yeah, but I think the criticism is that obviously this is stupid. We don't need to be told that this is stupid, but
because there are people out there who don't think this is stupid.
Well, not only that, a lot of people in the atheist community don't know how common these views are, right?
Right.
And I think sometimes we need to be reminded, like, hey, you guys that don't believe in this shit, you're in the minority. Please don't forget that the rest of the planet is still far behind. So I think we need that reminder sometimes.
Yeah, anytime that you think there's not stupid people out there, just go to YouTube, type in the search bar, Ken Ham, press enter. That's it.
But Jackson, I'm not saying that you're not. Your comments are obviously you're making some good points. Sorti is saying, like I said earlier, I'd rather focus on the real issues, the community isolationism that an atheist faces, and how everything revolves around church, jobs, and friends. Okay, well, we have news like that as well. We can't make everybody happy. This is obviously a news that a lot of people wanted us to cover, and I think it was important. Okay, you guys. Alias is saying you all need someone like John Chau to start Atheist Republic in Saudi Arabia. No, we don't need. No, we don't need anyone to die. Okay. Soraya is saying India coming soon. One more year, and I'll plan to involve in. Soraya is going to be involved in our Indian consulates. Thank you, Soraya. That's very helpful.
It's awesome.
This is the last comment I'm going to read relevant to this news. Jack's saying most of us know we are a minority. We argue with people about these topics every day. Some people are more affected by this on a daily basis than me. Yeah, but Jackson, just because you know, that doesn't mean most people know. Chris is saying it was important. Okay, let's go to the next news. Some people are...
Next news. Wes Goodman, an Ohio State representative, married, and an anti-gay, anti-abortion Christian lawmaker, announced his resignation from the Ohio House of Representatives over inappropriate sexual affair allegations with a man. His campaign website promotes, quote-unquote, natural marriage and anti-abortion propaganda.
Huh.
And he has actually admitted to these allegations. He has resigned. He has sent out a letter of resignation stating that he was in the wrong. And I really have mixed feelings about this one. And in the end, after thinking about it, I feel. I mean, I feel bad for him. Like we said earlier, he is a victim
Victim,
of
yeah.
indoctrination, and it's so sad that he felt the need to express this self hate, and it was a closeted self hate. Nobody else knew that he was hating himself but him, and he had to go out there every day and promote this anti-gay agenda, knowing that 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 he was attracted to men, and not just attracted to men, but obviously having intercourse with men.
See, exactly. This is another thing that I think a lot of people in our audience are going to disagree with us. A lot of people from the Atheist Republic community are going to disagree with us. People are like, so this guy was anti-gay. He's obviously being harmful to the gay community, and now we find that he's gay, and people are like, well, karma, I guess, right? Like, good, like they're probably happy about it, and they're like, I mean, it's good. I guess I'm also. It's good that he doesn't have a job, so because he would have hurt more people, right? Like he would have been bad to a lot of other people from the LGBT community. But at the same time, you could be happy about the fact that he's not going to be able to do that anymore, and feel bad for him. This guy is like has they built a demons inside him
Okay.
that is eating him alive.
Well,
Like this guy is disgusted by his own identity. This guy is ashamed of who he is and what he wants. So
right.
he victimized a lot of other people, but he himself is also a victim of this cancerous ideology. But go on, Jim.
No, I was going to say that if you're an atheist, then you shouldn't be talking about shit like karma. I mean, that is a Hindu concept. I mean, either you're
No, I
talking
know.
about justice.
Symbolic, yeah.
What you're talking about is justice,
Right.
and but why? What justice is needed for somebody holding a bad belief that hurt nobody but himself?
Right. Wait,
Because I
what?
mean, because you have to think about it. However long he's known that he's been gay, however long that he's been accepting these what do you call them, attractions or whatever in his head, however long he's been accepting himself as gay, he's been suffering through with it, with a homophobic family, homophobic friends, homophobic colleagues, and not just that, but he's having to promote a homophobic agenda himself. I mean, that's punishment enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so wait, Beach is asking a question. Does he think he's wrong because of the affair, or because he was speaking against it? Like, what is he exactly apologizing for? For being gay, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So
that's
he's not
that's
saying
correct, because
they're
calling it.
he's not apologizing for being anti-gay. He's apologizing for being gay himself and doing something.
Let
Yeah.
let me read his statement that he released. Um, he said, "Serving as the state representative for the 87th Ohio House District has been one of the great honors of my life. We all bring our own struggles and our own trials into public life. That has been true for me, and I sincerely regret that my actions and choices have kept me from serving my constituents and our state in a way that reflects the best ideals of public service. For those whom I have let down, I'm sorry. As I move on to the next chapter of my life, I sincerely ask for privacy for myself, my family, and my friends." So he didn't say that he regretted his actions. He said that he regretted that his actions have kept him from serving his constituents in a way that reflects the
Yeah.
best ideals for public service.
This guy must be feeling so ashamed of his own family right now. Like everybody that he grew up with, everybody that hates him, and the problem, the sad part of I mean, all of this is sad, but what makes it even worse is that he probably thinks they're right. All right, like he doesn't.
Yeah,
It's one thing to feel like, oh, my family hates me. It's another thing to think, oh, my family hates me, and I
and they're
deserve to
right.
be, and they're right, and I deserve to be hated. Like this is like your entire your perception of yourself. This is like a hell built within you. You know that. It's so
Yep,
sad.
he believes that he promoted the idea of marriage to be between one man and one woman. I mean, there's just so much. Like, I mean, if you just read some of his speeches, some of his boldest assertions about the LGBT community, it's very disturbing how much self hate this guy had.
Yeah, see the top comments are making fun of him. I mean, at the same time, it's okay. A lot of people see a contradiction between this. It's possible for you to feel bad for this guy and also be happy that he's not going to be harming anybody anymore. This is not. It's okay. You could at the same time feel like it's good that he lost his job because he was. He's harmful to the gay community, but also feel bad for him. This is not contradictory. Lisa is saying it's usually the ones who scream the loudest opposing it, not surprised. I don't know if that's true. I hear a lot of people say that. I don't think there's been any study to show that people that are the most homophobic people are probably gay. That's been thrown a lot. I think people just say that because it's funny or because it makes the people that are homophobic very angry. I don't know if there's any. It might be I'm not saying there is no correlation, but I've seen that a lot of people say that. I don't know if that's true or not. The photo to the before. No. Okay, that's another joke. It's almost never mind. Okay, let me see what the YouTube live is saying. You wanted to add something?
Oh no, go ahead.
There's a lot of stuff in the YouTube live chat. Nope, that's from before. Okay, one day Armin will make it as Times person. No, moves. Okay.
Yep.
Ultimate Classic is saying another Ted Haggard. Beej is saying, Beej, I already read that. Sorty is saying this is hypocrisy, though. It is a political issue. Muska is saying the American politicians that are the most anti-gay are the most gay. Moose, that's what Moose is saying as well. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's been any studies to show there's a correlation. I don't know where that comes from when people say that. I think a lot of people. Okay, I
think it's just a coincidence. I think that homosexuality is natural, and so it's only natural that people who disagree with homosexuality because of their doctrine, it's only statistically natural for there to be homosexuals in that group. So I mean, while there aren't as many, it's not far fetched to say that there are some.
No, but the claim is that the people that are the most homophobic and complain about it the most are probably gay themselves, right? And I think there's no study that shows that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And I also think the reason, this is not a theory, this is a hypothesis, the reason why people assume that is because when there is a hypocrisy like that, that story gets the most attention, right? When somebody is homophobic and they call that as homophobic, that gets some attention. But when somebody is homophobic and then they get exposed that they're actually gay themselves, that story gets more attention. And because that story gets more attention, I think a lot of people have come to the belief because of that to think like, oh, it seems like most people that are homophobic seem to be gay. But it's just a different exposure that the stories get. I don't know. This is just a guess. I might be totally off on this. Let me see. So Jackson is saying, I agree with you here. I don't think we should sink to their level. I feel awful for the guy, but also glad he was moved past it. Exactly. Jackson saying, hopefully it will mean he will do less harm to the LGBT community after this as well. Chrissy is saying, heartbreaking. And B just saying agreed with Jim. The cosmic joke is saying there's this saying under Christians, what is in dark will come to the light. It's funny how relevant this is to the atheist community as well. One thing I like, but one Bible verse that I like that out of context, I like it out of context, is that you shall know them by the fruits of their labor. I think that's the most because I like to apply that to Christianity as well. Like look at religion as a whole. Look at their fruits of the labor and look at the fruits of the labor of like this of science or in the scientific community. Just based on that Bible verse, you should just throw out religion.
That's a great point.
Yeah, Jackson is saying, agree, he must feel awful. Sorty is saying, the problem here is political and partisan hypocrisy. It's also religious, Sorty. It's not just political. This is good for the atheist community. People like him being exposed by their own mistakes opens up room for better people. Yeah, the net benefit is more obviously more. Soraya is saying every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Law of science is kind of no. Just because laws of physics don't apply to the society, just because it applies to physics, it doesn't mean, and you can't just take something from physics and bring it into social sciences. Jackson is saying, exactly, great that he lost his job, but also feel empathy. Robert saying, punishing them or oppressing the behavior makes sense if you are absolutely certain that homosexuals will spend eternity in hell. I don't know if Christians don't think that. Christians think that if you're homosexual, you don't act on it, and if you act on it, you ask for forgiveness, and you're fine, right? Isn't that you just the part that we have a problem with is that the constant feeling of shame and guilt and disgust with yourself, which is the major part of Christianity.
Well, not just that, but also suppressing your sexual desires.
Yeah, and your identity. Sub-Zero is saying, Armin, why do you feel bad for this guy? He has been trying to remove gay rights his whole career, and then turns out to be a massive hypocrite. Well, because he's a victim of this virus called Christianity. He's also a victim. Yes, he's a carrier and he's spreading the virus, and we should stop it, but he himself is carrying the disease and suffering from it. That's why I feel bad for him. This is like ISIS member who gets drunk and cuts the head off someone he finds listening to music. What? I mean, I don't know what you're saying with that example, but I also feel bad for a lot of ISIS people because, when you see an ISIS member that commits suicide bombing, right? You think like people see like, oh, you're a terrorist sympathizer because you feel bad for them, right? No, if an ISIS member, you have them, if they're in your target, take them out because they're going to kill more people. Obviously, and it's justified if you capture them to lock them up forever. But that doesn't mean I don't feel bad for them. When that ISIS member, when that person was a baby, if it was born in somewhere, that baby could have been not an ISIS member, right? It could have been born in a different family. It could have been exposed to different ideas, right? That ISIS member was also a victim of a very dangerous and barbaric ideology. I'm not saying they shouldn't be punished. They should be held accountable for their actions. But in saying that they should be held accountable for their actions is not contradictory to also saying that we feel bad for them. No, not good. Sorry. Okay, I know. Every time I say this, I get in trouble. Feel bad for ISIS. I feel bad for people being fucked in the head by an ideology that made them a victim. See, when there's a suicide bombing, right? For example, and this is the most extreme example I give, that I lose a lot of followers, right? Or lose a lot of fans and supporters when I say this, right? Let's say that suicide bombing happened and 16 people died, and I say like when they're counting the victims, they're always missing one person because the suicide bomber himself or herself was also one of the victims. But that person was a victim of this ideology way before the day that the suicide bombing happened, because this ideology stole their lives, right? And again, people say like, no, people should be held responsible. I'm not saying they shouldn't be held responsible. They shouldn't be held responsible. I'm not saying that they shouldn't suffer the consequences of their actions. Saying that they should suffer the consequences of the action and they should be held responsible does not mean that they're not a victim. It's not making excuses for their actions. You could condemn their actions. You could hold them responsible. You could say that they deserve punishment, and at the same time feel bad for the fact that somebody that could have turned something else was a victim of an ideology, of a disease called Islam or Christianity that made them the way they are.
Sure.
Jackson is saying, I think this relates to this first story. I felt bad for the missionary because he really thought he was saving the people. Eternal soul. Exactly, Jackson. He was stupid, but I feel bad for him. Sub-Zero saying, just pointing out that I don't have much sympathy for those that harm others in the name of anything, and then turn around and perform sins themselves on the same topic they lie about. Yeah, well, Sub-Zero, I mean, it's fine. I'm not saying... I feel sympathy. You might not. Obviously, we don't control what we feel sympathetic towards. Jackson is saying, Armin, exactly. You can feel bad for these people who were indoctrinated but not agree with their actions. Exactly, Jackson. Jackson and I are on the same page here. Serti is saying feeling bad for them isn't really getting us anywhere. Actually, the best way to stop them is to figure out what went wrong. You know, a lot of people think explaining something is excusing it. Explaining something and excusing it are not the same thing. This is why I kind of like the more modern movies and stories that are being told, because if you look at the villains in modern superhero movies and modern books and stuff, the villains are a lot more complicated than just like obvious lines between good and evil. Like if you look at their storyline, sometimes you can see where, like, you know, Thanos or other people are like, okay, I see what happened or why did they came up. You it's easier to sympathize with them, and I think that's the stories that are being told now are more reflective of the real world. Again, just because you sympathize with what happened to them and how they got there doesn't mean you agree with them. And I think the stories that I'm seeing being told in movies and in books now, I think it's equipping children growing up to better try to see how somebody in real life becomes a villain. And I think if you try to see things from their perspective without agreeing with it, we're going to have more tools to try to stop it and try to address the problems that they have and try to direct it in a different solution than the solutions they came up with, like, you know, wiping half of the planet like Thanos. Anyways, did you want to add anything? Jim, you're muted. Nobody can hear you.
Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to address a comment in the live chat. Muscal says, didn't Jesus teach to love thyself and thy neighbor? She was saying that basically, for me, it seems a little like that Christians shouldn't be promoting stuff like that. But actually, Jesus did say something about homosexual behavior that a lot of people don't realize. It's Matthew 19. In Matthew 19, he actually says, have you not read that the one who made them at the beginning made them male and female? It's
yeah, but that's not is that in reference to?
I'm sorry. It was the verse before, Matthew 19:3. Somebody asked Jesus, said, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any cause?" And he said, "Have you not read that one who made them at the beginning made them male and female? For this reason," well, this is from Genesis. He references Genesis 1:27. It says, "For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate."
Yeah, but he also said that he doesn't throw any of the old laws away, so all of the Old Testament laws apply. And at
That's
the
right.
same time, he wasn't that kind hip. You know, a lot of atheists are a fan of Jesus. They said like, "Oh, Christians are. I wish more Christians were Christ-like." I like, no, Jesus was evil. He condemned most of the planet to eternal torture. The New Testament is actually worse than the Old Testament. The Old Testament didn't have eternal torture in it. The New Testament had eternal torture in it. And the condition for not eternal torture was just following Jesus blindly. Jesus was kind of crazy. I don't know why so many atheists have been convinced that he's the nice guy in the Bible. I wish more Christians were like Jesus. Like, really, he said, "I'm not bringing peace, I'm bringing war." He said that you should love me and hate your family. He was jealous of people's love for each other in their own family. Like, why do you love your own daughter? Love me. He cursed the tree because it didn't have fruits.
Yeah.
The guy
Well,
was
in Matthew, a Canaan woman came to him and was crying out to him and said Jesus, oh Lord, Son of David, my daughter's possessed. She's possessed with a demon, and he didn't answer her. And his disciples went went to Jesus, and they were like, "Hey, send her away. She's crying. She wants us to come help her, get rid of her." And he said that he's not sent to the lost sheep of that he's not sent to anybody but the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And then she came straight up to him and said, "Lord, help me, help me." And he looked at her and he said, "It is not to me. It is not to meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs." So basically, he was saying that what I have for my people is not good enough for you. This is for my kids. This isn't for my dogs.
yeah.
And he answered her and he said, "Woman, great is your faith, and be it unto you, even as you will." And then he did end up healing her daughter, but only after he said that she didn't deserve what wasn't rightfully hers.
The cosmic joke is saying, did Jesus really say anything? Well, I mean, we're talking about Jesus as a character, like the same way you talk about Voldemort, right? But we don't know
Right.
what Jesus said or didn't say. Obviously, none of this is historically proven to have happened. It's all stories, but what we're talking about Jesus as a character in a story. You could say, "Oh, did Harry Potter say this or not?" Well, so like, well, he said in the stories. So we're referring to the character of Jesus, not whatever historical figure existed or didn't exist. And another thing, just one last thing, like some of the good part of the Bible, people so-called good part of the Bible, were the Good Samaritan. The whole point of that parable is that it's a racist story, right? Because the whole point is like even a Samaritan is capable of doing good things. You know what I mean? Like even from the least places that you expect. Like this is these group of people. It's actually if you go and analyze, if you go and read it, this is basically a racist against Samaritans. Did you know that, by the way?
Well, yes. Speaking of Samaritans, is in Matthew 10. Matthew 10 is whenever Jesus gave his 12 disciples the power to cast out demons, the power to heal people, the power to heal sicknesses or whatever. So he gathered all of his disciples. Interestingly enough, one of them was a Canaanite, but apparently that didn't matter. And he told them, he said, "Go forth." He said, "But don't go to the Gentiles." Or into any of the Samaritan cities,
Right.
but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So basically, he said, "I want you to go and heal people. I want you to go and cast out demons,
But
but
not
just the Jews,
right.
just the people of Israel.
Right.
Don't go to the Gentiles." So if they still have their foreskin, they're fucked.
So Jesus was like racist against Samaritans, and
He was xenophobic to the max.
yes. So and the whole point of the Good Samaritan story is that look, even the worst of people are capable of doing good things. That was the point of that story.
From the very beginning of the Bible, it's xenophobic. When Moses comes down from the mountain, they're worshiping the golden calf, and he sends them into the land to kill everybody. I mean, it's because they were a race; they weren't the right tribe. It's
right. Okay, let's go to the next story. Hold on.
All right, let's see. Next story. Priest says Celine Dion's gender-neutral clothing line was created by the devil.
I have a different story. I have the Greek Orthodox. Is that the? Do I have the wrong story? Okay.
Okay.
No. Wait. I'll bring it up. Okay. Start again.
Which one's?
No, the priest Celine Dion.
Okay. Priest says Celine Dion's gender-neutral clothing line was created by the devil. Celine Dion has a gender-neutral clothing line, and John Esif, a priest, says that it is created by the devil who wants to confuse everyone. The child models don't smile, and many of the clothes feature skulls and dark colors. He was a past president of a group that trains exorcists and who thinks gender issues in general are quote-unquote demonic.
Wait, gender issues in general are demonic?
He's referring to transgender people, to basically anything that is not in line with the Catholic idea of sexuality.
I have a suggestion for a priest. I think they should get together and just give us the list of the things that are not demonic, because given by the rate of things that are becoming demonic, I think that would be a faster way of just everything else is demonic except the things in this list.
I wonder if covering up cases of child sex abuse are demonic.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah. No, but I mean, the Catholic Church, by a lot of other Christians, are accused of being demonic all the time. I mean, this you know how a lot of people start claim everybody's race, everybody that they don't agree with is racist, and now the word racist is like losing the power that it once had, right? And I think this demonic is used to be like the Christian priest way of calling out evil in the most aggressive way, but now it's just you're just pointing at, oh, yoga is demonic, this is demonic, that
Well, so
detox is
this
demonic.
guy, Monsignor Esif, the priest who said all this, he was he's been a priest for more than 65 years, but he's been an exorcist for more than 40 of those years. So I think that, and he also trained other exorcists, like how to expel demons. So I think that he's just trying to boost business. I think he's just trying to put some word out there for all the people that he trained. They're calling him up like, John, man, we got to do something. Numbers are low. I've got like one exorcism this month, and he was like, I got it. Celine just put out these ugly ass clothes. I'm about to call it demonic, and we're gonna be good.
I think people should market on this. So, like, people should just come out with brands and be like, hey, guess what? Our brands are demonic.
Right.
This is a very unique feature. I
mean, it worked for yoga, didn't it?
I mean, demonic makes it actually sounds pretty cool. Like, I want demonic clothes on my baby.
Hell yeah. When I was a Christian, I wanted demonic clothes. I mean,
if they think like demonic makes it seem weird so demonic, like, as if it's evil, right? But or cultish, or I don't know what feelings they want us to feel when they say demonic, but I think the feelings that they want us to feel should be people should feel those when they hear that there's a cult of people that eat their own god and drink his blood,
right.
and have statues of him crucified, and celebrate their own god's torture and his sacrifice as saving humanity, like,
and they wear it around their freaking neck.
Right, yeah, and they wear the symbol of him being tortured for them around their neck. So I think
people in the South, in the United States, they have an entire wall of nothing but crosses. I mean,
right. I mean, if I'm pretty sure if priests didn't hear about Jesus and all of a sudden somebody came and introduced them to Christianity, they would call that shit demonic. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
Right, like, you mean you want me to worship a zombie who is really himself, who died for himself, so that he wouldn't put you in another place? What?
Yeah, and yeah, if I always think if Jesus comes back, he would be terrified. When Jesus comes back, he would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with all of you? Why you have crosses everywhere? Do you not know that I was tortured or anything like this? I'm traumatized every time I see a cross. Brings me flashbacks. Get that shit out of my face."
I've always pictured Jesus like coming back, and he's like, "Hey guys, how y'all doing, man? Everybody good? Everybody happy? Everybody loving each other, guys? Everybody, what the fuck?"
No, Jesus would be I think he would be going around cursing everything, and putting demons in pigs and stuff like in the Bible. Anyways,
right.
Don't make him sound like a cool guy. He's the villain in the Bible, okay? Jesus is the villain in the Bible. The devil went to Jesus and like, look, you can make every rock turn into bread, right? You can feed the whole planet. Didn't he say that? Like, he had a point. Like, you have the power to just make bread out of stone. Why don't you just do that? And Jesus was like, nah. So
Well, and we know the devil doesn't exist either because he had the power to tempt Jesus. He actually was able to convince God, that being so powerful that he cast the devil and his followers to hell. He was actually powerful enough to convince God to say, "Hey, this guy that you want to die for all of humankind, let me see if I can fuck with him."
Keith is saying it's called unisex and it's existed already decades and nobody had a problem with it until it was rebranded as gender neutral. Oh
He didn't say
yeah,
anything about rompers.
yeah. I mean, unisex was a huge was always around us, right? I bet you some of these brands are also playing on the controversy. Like, hey, let's make some unisex clothes like always, and be like, but nobody's gonna get angry with that. Let's just call it gender neutral because I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna get angry about the word gender and it's gonna be in the news. Like, oh, okay, let's call our unisex clothes gender neutral. so, so
I mean, why
I
not?
mean, I don't know. I think it works. I mean, it's smart if that's the thinking behind it. I'm not saying it is, but if it is, I would be interesting. Gender neutral. You mean clothes that are not pink or blue? John is saying he's upset because it might make it harder to identify his next molestation target. Oh, come on, John. Edward is saying if there were such a creature as the devil, I'll suspect one of her first creations would have been a priest. Come on, I think the devil gets so much unfair hate. The devil is the first in the Bible, is the first humanist, and I think that's huge because the first humanist wasn't even a human. So he cared about another species. That's
I
pretty
mean, yeah. I
admirable.
mean, if you look at it, he went to these two beings that God created, and he looked on them, and he was like, "Man, God created these people, and they have no idea what an asshole he is. But if they eat that fruit, they'll know.
Right.
So I'm gonna go get them that fruit and
Right.
help them out a little
And
bit."
he told them the truth. So God said if you eat this fruit you die. The
And
devil said no, you're not gonna die. You're gonna become like God. And they ate the fruit. They didn't die, and they became like gods. So who was telling the truth? The devil. Um, so the cosmic joke is saying this ad for Celine is very demonically corny. Um, I didn't know. Okay, Robert Paulson is saying atheists failing to cheer that Muslims were elected in the midterms are often labeled as racist. Um, Jackson is saying, I think that was referring to me saying the word racist is overused, just like demons are being overused by priests. Jackson is saying, I don't understand both the right and the left's obsessions with gender sex. Just let your kids wear what they like and what is practical. Yeah, and I think unisex clothes are very practical because all your babies can wear them. So let me see. Should we go to the next news?
sure. Next news. Fox News guest uses Bible to justify tear gassing asylum seekers at the border.
Wait, I have the
The-
wrong news again. It's Greek Orthodox. Are you getting to that at some point? Hold on.
oh yeah. I'm sorry.
All right. Let me.
Greek Orthodox
Okay, go ahead.
Greek Orthodox priest claims the Earth is the only planet in the universe. Bishop Anthemos of Thessaloniki, a Greek Orthodox priest, made a comment that the Earth is the only planet in the universe after the NASA InSight mission successfully landed on Mars. He added that this was transferred to him by a Greek scientist whose name he didn't catch.
What? At least he's not claiming he got it from God. Okay, so he's like, okay, so he's like, what the hell? Is this guy popular? Should we be like, how many followers does this guy have? Like, I want to
No,
be
he's just a priest
just a
is all
priest.
he is, and he just
What?
made he made this comment. It's but he also said that that many scientists have proven that there is only one planet, but that they just haven't released their research yet.
They
Their
haven't.
papers aren't yet published.
I don't know. This guy's just an idiot. I don't know if this why this is news. This shouldn't be news. It's basically The story is an idiot in funny clothes said something unscientific and claimed it to be science. That's the
Yeah,
story,
that wraps it up right there.
right? And people take him seriously for some stupid reason. So
Yeah,
end of
yeah,
story. That's all it is.
that's it.
Um, okay, I don't think this deserves any more attention.
Yep, I got nothing.
I mean, I can appreciate the fact that maybe this has nothing to do with religion because he said my scientist friends that told me and not God. So maybe the fact that he's a bishop is just a coincidence, and this has nothing to do. This is just an idiot person saying stupid things about stuff that he doesn't understand, and it's not even a religious story.
But wouldn't that be him admitting that that the word of a scientist is more credible than the word of God?
I mean, he might think one of those people that might think religion to religion, science to science. You know, they're different realms, so he might be one of those people. I don't know. Um, okay, so Jackson is saying, I think this is what most of us were referring to in terms of news that don't find interesting. But Jackson, the difference is this is why I'm asking if how popular this guy is, right? Because when somebody with a huge following says something and people are like, oh yes, yes, then we have to recognize there's a huge problem. But if this is just a small random priest that nobody cares about, I think it's a non-story because it
Yeah.
doesn't reflect the numbers or anybody a huge thing that is happening.
Right.
So let's go to the next news.
Fox News guest uses Bible to justify tear gassing asylum seekers at the border. Director of the conservative group Unhyphenated America, Christopher Harris, commented on Fox News that we should not worry about the Trump administration lobbing tear gas at immigrants seeking asylum because they are mostly men. And the Bible tells us to protect the poor, which apparently only includes women and children, which is a false claim. So he needs to read his Bible. Because everywhere in the Bible it talks about helping your fellow man. If your brother has one tunic or has no tunic and you have two, give him one. When you give a banquet, when you have a feast, you invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or rich neighbors. Truly I say unto you, as you did it to one of the least of my brothers, you did it for me. It literally just talks about the poor and the needy brothers, like helping out men. I mean, it's
Wait, who is this guy?
he's he's a director of the conservative group Unhyphenated America. He's not Christian in any way. He just he's very much a right wing, just a wingnut basically.
He seems like I'm pretty sure Fox didn't bring him on just because he was a random guy in the street. Like, is he? What is he? Is he like a politician or what?
Oh, come on! Do you watch Fox News? They always bring in random guys off the street. It's just like just whoever will talk and whoever will parrot their talking points, they will invite them on. And I'm not bashing Fox News. I'm just bashing giving people a platform to talk about a topic that.
So he's a nobody, somebody with no influence or anything like that. Is he big deal? I don't know.
I mean, within his group, he has some influence, but other than that, no.
So
he's got a little bit of a Facebook following.
Okay. And he thinks that the Bible. He's not a very conservative Christian. He just thinks that the Bible is referring to men and women, and I think men's rights activists have to be talking to this guy. Like, wait, so you only think the Bible is only referring to women and children?
I mean, the fact is that the entire Bible is very patriarchal as in its nature.
This guy got it completely the other way around. The Bible is very anti-woman and very pro-men, and he's now suggesting that the only according to the Bible. Okay, this guy is just another random idiot. I don't think he deserves much attention. Rob top comment is saying, proving yet again that Christianity is about hate more than love. I don't think this proves anything other than this guy being an idiot. Let's be fair to him. What was his exact quote? I don't want to misrepresent anybody here.
His exact quote was that the Bible tells us to protect the poor, but we shouldn't worry about the Trump administration lobbing tear gas at the immigrants seeking asylum because they're mostly men.
Okay. That's weird. That's just weird.
Yeah, well, his quote, it says, even from a Christian standpoint, it talks about who are the poor, right? It's the women and children. At the border, it's probably
Okay.
like 90% adult males. That's his exact quote, which
I
is
think the main thing you get out of the story is where does Fox News get its guests? Like, come on, like I'm hoping that this guy is not going to get invited again, because this is absolutely ridiculous.
and what's crazy is that this guy gets his concept of poverty comes from the Bible, and so he believes that poverty can only happen to women and children because it's in the Bible. Yet he's probably the same person who advocates for homeless veterans, which are mostly men.
No, yeah, all right, yeah, this guy's just a random idiot.
He's a jackass.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Note to Anna. I know Anna watches this. Anna, the community is asking for more important global news that is not like. So just take a note of that, guys. We rely on you to recommend stories to us as well, right? You have to, like, we always asking for you guys to go to our YouTube channel, go to the comment section, and we have just to be fully transparent, that also you leaving comment also helps our channel, right? But it's also one of the least busiest places that on our social media, right? Our Facebook page is 2,100,000 followers. We can't follow the messages and notifications there. Our emails are crazy, but we are checking our emails. But our YouTube is kind of small. And it's really much easier for Anna to go through your comments there. So if she's like, oh, why are you covering this news? Why are you not covering that news? Well, go to our YouTube channel, not in the live chat. The live chat is about what we're talking about right now. And go to the comment section for the news stories that we covered before, and let Anna know what stories we should be covering. So, this is the Atheist Republic. The Republic part means something. The stories that we cover are the stories that you tell us to cover. So if you want different stories, suggest different stories. Oh, Jackson, thank you, Jackson. Yeah, thank you, Jackson. Saying I'll try to recommend some stuff next time. Sorry, Dad. Okay, that's good. That's funny. All right, so next news.
Next news. Christian astrophysicist has 5 unconvincing reasons she's no longer an atheist.
Wait, she's an astrophysicist?
That is correct. She is an astrophysicist. Wow. Her name is Sarah Salviander. She took to Twitter to give some reasons why she converted from atheism to Christianity, and this was her tweet. I was raised atheist, but I became Christian because, 1, Genesis is consistent with science.
What the
2,
hell?
The legal historical case for Jesus is strong. Holy crap, somebody's been watching YouTube videos. Christianity is the source of things I cherish. You like slavery? Okay. Mm-hmm. Christianity is the best explanation for evil. You are absolutely right. Isaiah 45:7. I form the light, create darkness, make peace, and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So you are right about that.
Okay, what's the fifth one?
Christianity gives me meaning and hope. Well, that's possible. And her tweet went viral.
Okay. The Christians must be loving this. So, astrophysicist, that means that she's like a Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of person? Is that right?
I'm sorry, like any what?
So, what is that astrophysicist? She's a scientist, right? And
right. Basically, she tracks stars. She does the trajectory of planets, the expansion of matter in the universe.
So, like Carolyn Porker? Is that her name?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this story, I think it's important, Jackson, low in the live chat, because this shows how vulnerable our fellow humans are, even if they're scientists, right? I think this is important. And again, to all the people that say, always say that, oh, atheists, you guys are biased, you're just only covering one side of the story. Like, we don't just show like Muslims leaving Islam or Christians becoming atheists. We're also showing that this former atheist scientist is now a Christian. So Not very biased, are we? Actually, let's give credit where credit is due. This is the friendly atheist Annette Breakspear. She's covering this as well. Um, so the 5 points. Genesis is consistent with science. The legal historical case for, no, that's number one. Number two, the legal historical case for Jesus is strong. Jesus. Okay, 3, Christianity is the source of things I cherish. That's what? Christianity is the best explanation for evil. And that's number 4. Christianity gives me meaning and hope. They are so, like, there's so much to say about each one of these. I don't even know where to start.
No kidding.
Genesis is consistent with science. I mean, you don't really have to go far in Genesis to see that Jim, you know the Bible better than me.
Yeah,
according to Genesis, our planet was made before the stars, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, before light, and not just that, but the concept of day and night.
Light and day and night, people can say day and night is just referring to time. Light might be referring to this, but this is a very specific part of Genesis, that God first created Earth. I think what day was that?
No, it was the first day he created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, no, but I don't care about the heavens part. I care about the earth part, right? Day one.
But he created the heavens and the earth in verse 1 together.
I know,
he created them both at the same time.
But my point, I'm focusing on the fact that God created earth on day 1, and he created the stars on day 3, right? So that is not very consistent with science. The stars were there way before Earth, and she's an astrophysicist. I don't get
exactly. Okay. Yeah, this is somebody who looks at stars and tracks their movement. I mean, I want her to be in debate room with somebody. The second point, the historical case of Jesus is strong. What the hell? Even Christian biblical scholars admit that they take it on faith. There's not. I mean, okay, go on. Sorry, Jim. The best contemporary evidence that we have for a historical Jesus, not even a biblical Jesus, no, we're not talking about a miraculous Jesus, just a regular Jesus, is Flavius Josephus, who wasn't even born until after Jesus died. So we're talking the best evidence that we have outside of the Bible for the existence of Jesus comes from somebody who was born after he died. It's ridiculous.
So then it starts getting even more ridiculous. So the first two are absolute wrong claims about history and science, but then the other reasons are not even reasons. Christianity is the source of things I cherish. So the reason why I'm a Christian now instead of atheist is because I cherish Christianity. That's not a reason. But
right, like what as an atheist, what about Christianity would you cherish?
No, I mean it doesn't. I don't care if you cherish it. Cherish it all day long. But what does that? How does that make it right? What the hell?
Well, it's an argument from personal conviction, from being convinced of something personally. So I mean, if that's a good enough reason for her, that's justification for her. Exactly, though. But I mean, she has to have some kind of justification. So
how is she a scientist? I mean, the number 5 and number 3 are the same thing. Number 3 is saying Christianity is the source of things I cherish, and number 5 is saying Christianity gives me meaning and hope. That's just basically repeating it in a different way. Number 4 is saying Christianity is the best explanations for evil. What the hell are you talking about, lady? I mean, I'm done. I can't. The best explanation for evil. What are you talking about? So, if Christianity
Isaiah 45:7, it says that God made evil, so maybe that's right.
I mean, what do people mean when they want an explanation for evil? When people ask for an explanation for evil, I ask them, can you give me an explanation for why there wouldn't be evil? Like how people say, shouldn't it be the other way around? People are like, oh, how if there is no religion, if there is no God, why is there evil? Like, what are you expecting as an answer? Can you explain to me why wouldn't there be evil? Like how do you even expect? You have to explain why is your expectation of a world without evil? Like I don't understand where is that even coming from for people needing an explanation for it.
Yeah, because I mean, if evil didn't exist, then you would just have the spectrum that we consider to be good or moral, and evil would still exist, but it would just become that end of the spectrum of the good or the moral part. I mean, evil is just a concept, or it's a polarity that would always exist, because no matter how small you make those lines, it's always going to exist.
Okay, a world where people are shitty to each other is based on what we know about nature and evolution, and our capacity to hate, and our capacity to be jealous, and our capacity to envy, and our capacity to want revenge, is completely it's not based on our understanding of everything we know about our mind. Obviously, we're going to have, we understand why there is evil. The extraordinary thing would be a world without evil. I think if our world didn't have, if you had a world with everybody being nice to each other, I think that would require, like, what the hell, how did this happen? That would require an explanation, not a world that has not a world with evil. Anyways, let me see the comments. Ryan is saying Christianity is the best explanation for evil. Couldn't have said it better myself. Oh, Ryan is reading it in a different way. Ryan is reading it as if Christianity is the source of evil. Clark is saying Genesis is just not the same without Phil Collins. What? I don't get the joke. Sean is saying I became religious because thinking hurts too much. I mean, I don't see. This shows how people can compartmentalize their stuff in their brain. You could be very logical about something and be an absolute idiot about something at the same time.
It's a great example. She's an astrophysicist.
Yeah, I mean, she must be very smart. Like, it's not easy to get to that position. Okay, you have no idea how much shit you have to go through for scientists, for somebody to be recognized as a scientist. Okay, so you can't say she's dumb. She must be incredibly smart. But it's amazing how, I think the reason why stories like this is important is to show how you could be incredibly smart about something and incredibly stupid about something else. This is and when you recognize this, and a lot of people are like, oh, I already knew that. Well, most people don't know that, because most people say, like, well, so and so scientist said this, and therefore it must be true. Exposing stories like this shows you that not to rely on arguments from authority.
Right.
Anyways, B is saying my cat gives me meaning and hope. Have you looked into pet adoption instead? That's funny. Anyways, let me look at the comments on the YouTube live chat. Just hope she doesn't think the universe is 6,000 years old. B just saying that. That would be something from an astrophysicist.
Yes, it would.
Robert is saying atheists are steadfast because we're armed a little bit better than someone who's never been exposed to it.
That's true, and we're always underestimated.
Mike is saying her looking for meaning is the key here. Yeah, this seems to be more. Mike is right. I think this is more of an emotional thing rather than a rational thing. Which is the case with most people's reason, quote unquote, reason behind why they're religious. The cosmic joke is saying, well, remember the guy that mapped the genome became Christian, also for a very bad reason. Yeah, that was like he saw 3 waterfalls at the same time. I think he thought that was a trinity or something like that. But this woman scientist is just absurdly, irrationally ignorant. Yep, I agree. Muscal saying God said let there be light, poof, light came to be. That's the real truth. She's joking. Muscal saying there are scientists that believe in creationism. Yeah.
Right, but these scientists also they suspend those beliefs once they go into the laboratory, once they go into their job, which I'm sure that Sarah does as well. That once that she's studying the stars, she puts the creation model aside, but there has to be some sort. Maybe she believes in an allegorical interpretation of Genesis and not a literal 6-day creation. I don't know.
No, but the key thing here is, like, you can't. Okay, so you can't look at individuals, right, as to figure out what's going on, right? This
Right.
would be anecdotal evidence, right? What you need to look at is the fact that being a scientist makes you less likely to be religious. So you need to look at the trends and average, right?
Well, yeah, sure. I mean,
So-
if you look at I mean, if you look at the scientific population compared to the citizen population, the ratio of non-believer to believer is far different
Right.
in the scientist realm than it is
So,
the citizen realm.
exactly. So this is, I mean, you could find examples. If you're looking at anecdotes, you could find an example for everything. You could find the dumbest atheists out there. You could find the smartest, most intelligent Christian, God-fearing Christians or God-fearing, intelligent, smart Muslims out there. You know, you could find them. You could find an example. Every example. There's enough people out there for you to be able to find examples. But what you have to look at is the people that are more familiar with the scientific method are less likely to believe in God on average, are less likely to be religious on average, and the people that are less exposed to any sort of education are more likely to believe in nonsense and religious way of thinking. And that should tell you something. So you have to look at the whole number, all the numbers together, rather than just one example. But I mean, not that you shouldn't look at these examples, because so let me clarify. You should look at examples like this as well, because it shows you that even with education and even if you're smart, you're not immune to some really uh, stupid way of thinking, including yourself. Like if she's not immune, there's a high chance that you yourself are now holding some very ridiculous views. It's very likely, and I think it's probable, almost certain, that I'm right now holding some views that are stupid. I just don't know
Sure.
what those views are. I mean, I hope
I mean,
somebody, I hope one day I'll find out. But this, so
I mean,
examples like this serves to show you that smart people are not immune and you're not immune. But if you want to, but you also have to look at the aggregate, all the numbers together, if you want to come up with a general conclusion about what education and being intelligent does to God belief. But go on, Jim. Sorry.
I was just gonna give you an example, a really good example. 200 years ago, people never thought that we would fly, that we would be able to fly, much less be able to carry, over 100 people at one time and do it every day. They just thought it was impossible, that we would never reach it. But it was a belief that was wrongly held, and I believe there's a lot of beliefs that society hold to be true systemically
Yeah,
that will be one day proven to be false.
yeah, but that wasn't a stupid belief. The issue with not being able to fly right now wasn't a technology limitation. It's an energy limitation, right? It's just take a lot of fuel to fly cars every year, right? We have the technology, we just don't have the energy to do that.
Well, it wasn't even that, because they weren't even making gliders. They were still having trouble making gliders. In fact, the Wright brothers didn't have their first successful flight with a glider. What was it, the
No,
late
but I'm just saying
1800s,
that's
I
not.
think?
I'm just saying that's not very. That wasn't very irrational to predict. It didn't ended up not being true, but it wasn't very irrational to predict. But I'm just saying there are many views that we hold right now that are very, like, if somebody showed to us that how ridiculous those views are, we would be embarrassed. Like I'm pretty sure, like right now, I'm holding some views that if
Oh,
somebody successfully pointed out to me how ridiculous that views are, I would be embarrassed of ever holding those views. You know what I mean?
I
Uh,
see what you're saying.
so I'm just saying we should all be that should increase our level of skepticism with the views that we're holding right now, right?
Sure.
Let me see. Let me see if there's any comments here. Soraya is saying religion is giving comforting lies. At least one in a lifetime, every person falls for it. Yeah. I mean, not. I'm not sure if every person falls for it, but yeah, it's very common. Okay. Let me see. Yeah. Let's go to the next news.
Um, Finland, Denmark, and Germany stop arms sales to Saudi Arabia after Khashoggi's death. Let's
This.
see.
Yeah.
Three con-
We had a similar story last week. But that was Germany. That was just Germany, but now we're adding two to the list, right?
Well, I actually added them last week because it was the day that we reported it. The other two countries joined
Mhm.
with Germany, and I reported on those two then.
Oh, you did already. Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah,
we covered this. Go on, give a summary, but I'll just repeat what I said last week. Go on.
sure. Three countries have halted arms sales to Saudi Arabia after the killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. Germany was joined by Finland and Denmark in halting all future arms sales and sending of military equipment. Germany and Denmark cited the killing of Khashoggi, and the crisis in Yemen is the reason for Finland.
Yeah, I mean, we here,
or what they say, anyways.
yeah. The obviously, so better late than never. Good thing that happened, but fuck you for not doing it earlier. I mean, I thank you for doing it now, but also fuck you for not doing it earlier. So
you get a thank you and a fuck you.
Yeah, thank you, and a fuck you at the same time.
The fuck you is just a little bit bigger than the thank you, just a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially because the thank you is because you cared about this Khashoggi guy, which you should care about, but fuck you for not caring about thousands of other innocent people that were being killed by Saudi Arabia, and you knowingly providing them the tools for them to do so, knowing that they're being killed, they're being used to kill civilians. So yeah, just a summary, the same thing that we said last week. Thank you and fuck you. Dave is, let me see the top comments here. Dave is saying, not the UK, we stick with our criminals and money. Really? Is that is that true? Is UK still selling? So UK
yes, that is correct. The UK is still selling.
So both UK and United States still fuck you, because no thank you to you, and fuck you, fuck both Trump and Obama for selling arms to Saudi Arabia. Both Trump and Obama knowing it was being used to kill civilians.
Absolutely.
Both Trump and Obama should be if the world was just, they would now be in a human rights tribunal somewhere being on trial.
Exactly.
Let me see, why is this comment?
But the shitty part is, so first of all, the war in Yemen's killed at least 57,000 people, right? Like that's the minimum number, the minimum estimate since 2015. But over 8 million people have been surviving on food aid from the British government, from their humanitarian assistance. They've given so much money to Yemen to help them, but they've also sold like $4.7 billion worth of arms to Saudi Arabia.
They're different organizations. I mean, a lot of people criticize the country as if the entire country is just one entity, right? So, like, for example, people like
no. The British government is the one who claims to have been the one giving the humanitarian assistance. The British government is the one who is funding the humanitarian assistance.
Yeah, it's a problem that they caused themselves. I was gonna say something, I forgot.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Anyways. This story makes me so fucking angry. I mean, I don't know if people. Again, I'm gonna keep saying this because I know I said it last week. This is a country that has used starvation as a weapon. It wasn't just the bombs being dropped on people's heads. It was also bombs being dropped on ports, knowing that it's a source of food and medicine for people. So more people are dying from starvation than the actual bombs. This is Saudi Arabia used starvation against civilians and against children as a weapon against people, and nobody talked about it. I mean, not that many people talked about it because it didn't serve anyone's agenda, because it was Muslim on Muslim, so neither Muslims or anti-Muslims wanted to bring attention to it. The Shias talked about it because it was Sunnis killing Shias, but they had their own agenda. Iran kept on pushing this war because it was wasting Saudi Arabia's money, and they loved it for that. But they kept on pretending that they care about the Yemenis people, and they don't. United States, UK, Germany, France, all these countries, they provided weapons for it. United States, until recently, fueled Saudi planes mid-air while they went and bombed innocent people and starved them to death. This is a crime against humanity, and the whole world, including Canada, including my country here, participated in it. This is the worst humanitarian crisis of our time, and the international community that kept on saying never again, never again. Not only did they not stop this humanitarian crisis, they supported it, they funded it, until one of their own died, until somebody
Right.
died that apparently mattered more than thousands of innocent Yemenis children. I mean, I don't want to make light of this person. Obviously, this person's death was a crime, and it should not go unpunished. But the fact that nobody cared until he died is disgusting.
Yeah, what's going on in Yemen is possibly the worst human rights violation that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and that I believe that most people have seen in their lifetime. We're talking about millions. We're not talking about 1 or 2 million. We're talking about 8, 10 million people who are in danger of dying from starvation or from water or from malnutrition or from disease. And the same people who are funding these weapons that are being used to put them into these situations is the same one that is claiming to be the one that to help them, and that's it's ridiculous.
One person that was against this because of Yemenis people and not because of other reasons was Bernie Sanders. Even though I don't like his economic policies, he does deserve credit for actually being on a much higher moral ground than anybody else, than most other people when it came to calling this out. So Bernie Sanders does deserve credit for that. I mean, and I think that's way more important than my disagreement with his economic policy, because he's proven to be at least a moral person when it comes to caring about fellow human beings. So let me see. Renzo is saying it's good to have Renzo in the live chat because he always has very good information. Renzo and Beach. Renzo is saying member states are determined to prevent the export of military technology and equipment which might be used for internal repression of international aggression. Is that part of the Constitution that Renzo are you referring to? Or what is that? From the Council of Ministers of the EU? Oh yeah, okay. So this is an EU thing.
Oh, the European Union, yeah.
Yeah, but I also know in the United States Constitution, this is the fact that they sold these weapons to Saudi Arabia, knowing it was being used against civilians. It's also against the United States' own constitution.
I haven't heard that argument.
Yeah, Muscal is saying Republican Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat, California 17. I don't know how to read this political United States stuff. Is that District 17 something? Advocates for the U.S. to stop all arms sales to Saudi Arabia. Now there is a growing trend to be more progressive on foreign affairs regarding U.S. laws. Yeah, but I want to know if this guy was calling for this before or just after this Khashoggi?
No, it's just recent in the past couple of days. Well, did the Republican representative come forward?
Yeah, so the reason why Bernie deserves credit for this is because he was doing it before this, right? Before this, it didn't take a death of this one man for him to call it out. Yeah, this is why another reason why I hate conspiracy theories when they are against United States. Because there's so much shit that there's real that you could go for, that you don't have to make up stories for United States government being criticized. I don't know. Okay, so let's end on a good news.
All right, churches are dying and being repurposed as bars and condos. Many of the churches in the United States are now being repurposed into bars, living spaces, and wineries due to low attendance and high property costs. The huge number of empty churches was described by Jonathan Merritt in The Atlantic as an American epidemic. So the people are losing it.
This is great. This is great news. Wait, so who's losing it?
Oh, just this guy's name is Jonathan Merritt. He's a writer for the Atlantic. It's a publication in the United States. Who said that it's an American epidemic. He's saying it's an issue that around 10,000 churches each year die.
That's great. They're going to be put to better use. And somebody in the Mark is pointing out at least now bars and condos pay taxes. Yeah, so it's not just good for the people that are going to be using it. It's also good for the entire society because they're now being used for something that benefits everyone else as well.
Absolutely.
But I wonder if if this trend continues, they're gonna become so cheap. Maybe we could go buy some of them.
Yeah, I mean, I would live in a church.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if who should buy the churches? The Satanic Temple. That would
be great.
That would make so many people lose their shit. Imagine if they go and they reverse all the crosses and they put satanic symbols in the churches. That would make the church. That would make the Christians lose their mind. That would be the most epic troll. Go on.
Can you just imagine, a little bitty small town, mostly Christian in the United States, and all of a sudden somebody moves into the church that's been dead and vacant for three or 4 years, and you see them working on it, and they're like, "Oh, look, they're going to put up another church," and you see somebody climb to the top and break the cross off and flip it upside down.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It'd be great.
I wonder. Okay. I want to see this happen to mosques at some point, but it's not going to happen to mosques because mosques are becoming more and more popular, and they're growing. Their followers are growing.
In the United States, for sure.
In the entire fucking planet, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah, this is great news. But I want to know what people think that these churches should be used for. Like, what would be the most ironic thing? If they, strip clubs.
I think a bar is perfect. Honestly, I think a bar is great. I mean, look at everything that happens in a bar. You have unmarried people meeting each other and going home to sleep with each other for one night.
I think. What if it homeless rehab centers for drug addicts and stuff like that? I think that would be even more ironic because. What the churches
because the churches should be doing that in the first place.
Yeah, because what the churches failed to do, they actually we managed to do in their the secular community managed to do because of their failure. Like in your failure, we actually is now providing the services that you pretend to be able to do better than you, right?
I see.
So your Christianity's failure makes the promises of Christianity more achievable. So I think that would be the most ironic thing if they turned them into.
Yeah, especially if it was a secular organization, because then they would be fulfilling the prophecy, so to speak, of what a Christian is supposed to be. So then the secular group would become the true Christians, they could call themselves.
Don't say that. Not true Christian.
I mean just to say that to rile up the believers.
No, but that goes into the narrative that true Christianity is good, which is not. True Christianity is pure evil. I'm just kidding. It's not. Nothing is pure evil, but it is destructive. B just saying, I like the churches to become humanist centers. Yeah, that would be nice. Soraya is saying Satan Church Halloween special. Renzo is saying if empty church. By the way, Chrissy, I'm not. Let me know if I'm ignoring any of your comments because I'm only looking when Atheist Republic is tagged. For me, it's showing up in orange, and if I'm not reading any of your comments, I'm not ignoring them, Chrissy. It's because it's not tagged. So. Let me know. Make sure you tag Atheist Republic because you have some really great comments that I missed because they're not tagged. Renzo is saying, if empty churches are an epidemic in the U.S., they are a plague in Western Europe. Oh, Renzo is saying they're a plague in West. I don't know. Why is that?
It's probably mostly Orthodox Catholic churches, isn't it?
Yeah, I think maybe it's too much. Even though the people there are more secular, I think the churches are more funded by tax. That's why they have survived. They survive longer.
right?
Uh,
Like Germany and Greek, right?
yeah, but that also might backfire because the fact that people are church because of their religion is also helping people leaving their religion. I don't know how that works. Somebody educate us. The cosmic joke is saying, although it's great to repurpose churches, I think some churches should be changed into museums for the art. Well, I mean, that's what the free market will
Well,
do, right? The free market. I think the free market will come in and fill in the gap for what's needed the most.
churches are built and have been built for I mean, for basically one purpose, is for one person to stand above others and to deliver a message. So why don't we just make it to and it just leave it the way it is, but just open it up to lecturers on STEM, it's like stem cell research or new technology or atheism. Have freaking Richard Dawkins come in and deliver a sermon inside of an old Catholic church. I mean, how cool would that be?
Yeah. Let me see what the top comments are. Mark was saying, good, at least bars and condos pay taxes. I read that. Eric is saying, I really want to turn one of it into a strip club and name it Sin. That's very funny.
A gay bar.
Yeah. Don is saying, some businesses go out of business. How about a homeless shelter? Yeah, that was my idea. Not just a homeless shelter that it has like, built-in rehab, helping people. Like, you shouldn't, like, I think homeless shelters are such a missed opportunity if you don't have like courses there or showers for people that want to get to go do interviews, or free rentals for suits for people that want to go get jobs, people that want to get off drugs or something like that. I think homeless shelters need to be mixed with something that helps you get out of the homeless shelter at some point.
Ooh, what about abortion clinics?
No, yeah, that would be interesting.
Oh, that would be great.
I bet you some
Just like
Christians.
just like right in the baptismal, right in the back where they baptize people, just
Right.
right there.
Right. I think a lot of Christians might actually like that because they would say like, "Oh, look, this is the sign of end of times." So that's see, this is
Oh
I know
man.
how the PR works. That's how you spin the narrative. Oh, we're losing
Well,
churches. That's not a bad thing. That shows that the Messiah is coming soon.
I mean,
Uh,
look at Jesus. The whole reason that Jesus is the proposed Messiah is because people manipulated and twisted prophecies to fit Jesus's existence. I mean, they changed the stories to match the Old Testament prophecies, and they're doing the same thing now. They just twist the meaning of a word to apply it to something that they don't like.
Renzo is saying, I'm glad they're being repurposed instead of demolished. I love visiting the cathedral in my neighborhood. The beautiful art and music help me relax. That I only find Catholic churches beautiful. I don't know. Protestants seem to be most of them seem to be just a normal building, and you put some church symbols on it. Old Catholic.
Christie's
Yeah, go on.
Christy in the comment section says, the fruit of your labors is evident. You two are such beautiful humans. Your kindness, generosity, and humanism is seen and felt in everything that you do with your platform. Thank you. Oh,
Ah,
thank you, Christy. That's
that's
very
very
sweet.
sweet.
Robert
If
Paulson.
I
His name is Robert
I'm just
Paulson.
gonna. I need to have like a list of Christie's comments somewhere stored for whenever I'm feeling down. I'm just gonna
Right.
read her comments because they're so uplifting and encouraging to read. But go on, sorry.
Christy's awesome.
Yeah, Christie's.
Robert Paulson says Christians and Muslims are not our enemies, and we should never act like they are. Islam and Christianity are just bad ideas that spread the viral cancer. Yeah, and
Yeah,
we don't
that's
proclaim Christians or Muslims to be our enemies. We do proclaim their doctrine and their beliefs and their ideologies' effect on society as an enemy.
no. We see them as victims. We don't see them as enemies. Yeah,
Exactly, but we see that the doctrine
yeah.
and the commandments and the things that actually drive these people to fulfill these harmful ideas.
Wolf is saying churches should be made into homes for the homeless. Well, I think they should be made into homeless shelters with rehabs. I think, yeah, but good point, Wolf. Yeah, I think Robert, I think I don't know if how long have you been with us, but we agree with you. We don't see Christians as Muslims as enemies. Soraya is saying, I don't know what Soraya is saying. There's a whole bunch of people tagged here. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna end it here. But anyways, thank you everybody. Make sure that you you subscribe to the Atheist Republic newsletter so that we don't miss any of these videos or any of our other content.
And also remember, if you haven't done so already and you're looking to join up with like-minded individuals within your local area, Atheist Republic has consulates in your area. You can find us on Facebook. You can meet up with people in your country, and if you're in the United States, in your state. So check us out on Facebook.
No, if you're anywhere, you could find people in your own close to you.
Yeah, anywhere.
But don't
we have consulates.
But for that, go to our website, not to our Facebook page. I mean, actually, no. We have that pin on our Facebook page as well.
Republic.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but the easiest place to find that is go to atheistrepublic.com for everything. Anyways, thank you everyone. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Christian, Soraya, Brian, XX, Vibrantly, Beige, Muscal. Muscal suggesting we bring somebody from the Satanic Temple. Yeah, we should bring somebody from the Satanic Temple.
That'd be great.
Robert is saying never quit. Keep up the good work. Will do, Robert. Thank you.
Sorry, we're getting off in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Love you guys. Love everybody. Love you people in the Facebook. Daniel, Melissa, Christian, Grant, Jeff, Raymond, Diane. Yeah. And again, thank you out for commenting. Thank you for correcting us. Thank you for disagreeing with us. Love you guys and see you again next week.
Y'all are great.